Licensure Examination for Teachers. Subject: Facilitating Learning, Child and Adolescent Development. Professional Education, for both elementary and secondary. Topic: Individual differences in the learning process. Question number 1. Which concept refers to the variation in students' characteristics, including their knowledge, prior experience, cognitive abilities, learning pace, gender, and socio-economic background, that necessitate different teaching approaches? A. Instructional alignment. B. Individual differences. C. Developmental stages. D. Learning styles. Correct answer: B. Individual differences. Why B is correct? Individual differences is the umbrella term encompassing all the unique ways learners vary from one another, intellectually, physically, socially, and emotionally. Recognizing these variations is the first step toward effective teaching. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Instructional alignment concerns the match between objectives, activities, and assessment, not student variation. C. Developmental stages focuses on universal patterns of growth, Piaget, Erikson, that apply to all learners at certain ages, not the variation between individuals. D. Learning styles, a specific category within individual differences, related to preferred ways of processing information, VAK, etc. Edge knowledge. Think the spectrum. The question lists a comprehensive range of variables: knowledge, pace, background. The broadest, most inclusive term that covers this entire spectrum of variation is individual differences. Question number 2. A teacher notices that a student, Leo, excels in debates, enjoys writing poetry, and is highly persuasive in oral reports. According to Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, MI, which intelligence is Leo likely demonstrating a strength in? A. Intrapersonal intelligence. B. Logical mathematical intelligence. C. Linguistic intelligence. D. Spatial intelligence. Correct answer: C. Linguistic intelligence. Why C is correct? Linguistic intelligence, word smart, involves sensitivity to the meaning and order of words, the ability to use language effectively for rhetoric, debates, reports, and poetic, expressive purposes, poetry. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Intrapersonal intelligence, self-knowledge and the ability to understand one's own feelings and goals. B. Logical mathematical intelligence, reasoning, number skills, and identifying patterns. D. Spatial intelligence, thinking in 3 dimensions, visualizing, and navigating space. Edge knowledge. Think verbal expression. The key indicators are skills related to language use, debates, poetry, and oral reports. These activities all rely heavily on linguistic fluency. Question number 3. Teacher A has a class with students who are at varying levels of readiness for a new unit on the history of the Philippines. To address this difference, she offers 3 tiers of reading materials and post-reading questions: basic, on-level, and advanced. This strategy is an example of differentiating the A. process, B. product, C. content, D. learning environment. Correct answer: C. Content. Why C is correct? Content refers to what the student needs to learn or the materials used to deliver the instruction. By offering different reading materials, basic, on-level, advanced, on the same topic, the teacher is differentiating the content to match the student's readiness levels. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Process. How the student makes sense of the content, e.g., choice of working alone or in a group. B. Product. How the student demonstrates mastery, e.g., choosing a presentation or an essay. D. Learning environment. The physical and emotional setting, e.g., flexible seating, quiet zones. Edge knowledge. Think the material, the information. If the teacher varies the input, the readings, the facts, the concepts, based on student readiness, they are differentiating the content. Question number 4. Which learning style describes a student who learns best through hands-on activities, movement, and manipulating real objects or models? A. Auditory. B. Visual. C. Kinesthetic. D. Global. Correct answer: C. Kinesthetic. Why C is correct? Kinesthetic, tactile learners are those who primarily process information and learn best through movement, kinetics, touch, and doing, Hands-on activities, role-playing, building models. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Auditory. Learns best through hearing, lectures, discussions. B. Visual. Learns best through sight, diagrams, charts, written text. D. Global. A cognitive style related to seeing the big picture before the details, not a sensory preference. Edge knowledge. Think movement. The root kinetic means motion. Keywords like hands-on, movement, and manipulating are the immediate identifiers for a kinesthetic learner. Question number 5. To cater to students with high spatial intelligence, picture smart, which instructional strategy should the teacher prioritize? A. Engaging the class in musical mnemonics and rhyming chants. B. Using diagrams, graphic organizers, concept maps, and visualization exercises. C. Encouraging verbal discussions, debates, and storytelling sessions. D. Incorporating physical education games and manipulative puzzles. Correct answer. B. Using diagrams, graphic organizers, concept maps, and visualization exercises. Why B is correct. Spatial intelligence involves the ability to perceive the visual world accurately and transform or modify one's visual perception. Tools like diagrams, maps, and organizers directly tap into this strength. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Targets musical, rhythmic intelligence. C. Targets linguistic intelligence. D. Targets bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Edge knowledge. Think visuals. Spatial is about vision and space. The best strategy involves using tools that organize information visually, which is the core strength of this intelligence. Question number 6. A teacher is teaching a lesson on the process of photosynthesis. To best serve her auditory learners, she should A. Require them to draw a detailed comic strip of the process. B. Assign a debate on the impact of deforestation on photosynthesis. C. Use a narrated video explanation and lead a class question and answer session. D. Have them build a 3D model of the plant cell. Correct answer. C. Use a narrated video explanation and lead a class question and answer session. Why C is correct. Auditory learners rely on listening. A narrated video, listening, followed by a Q&A session, listening and speaking, directly matches their preferred sensory input mode. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Visual, linguistic. B. Linguistic, verbal, speaking. D. Kinesthetic, spatial. Edge knowledge. Think ears and voice. The strategy must maximize listening and verbal interaction, speaking, discussion, to match the auditory preference. Question number 7. Which of Gardner's intelligences is most closely related to the ability to understand and effectively interact with other people, including interpreting their moods, intentions, and motivations? A. Intrapersonal intelligence. B. Naturalist intelligence. C. Interpersonal intelligence. D. Existential intelligence. Correct answer. C. Interpersonal intelligence. Why C is correct. Interpersonal intelligence, people smart, is focused on the relationship between people. It is the capacity to understand and respond appropriately to the temperament, motivations, and desires of others. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Intrapersonal intelligence focuses on self-knowledge, understanding oneself. B. Naturalist intelligence focuses on recognizing and classifying species, patterns in the environment. D. Existential intelligence, the capacity to contemplate deep questions about life and death. Edge knowledge. Think between people. The prefix inter means between or among. The ability to understand other people is the core of interpersonal intelligence. Question number 8. When a teacher discovers that a student from a rural, indigenous community struggles with abstract concepts presented in the standard textbook, the difference in learning is primarily stemming from the student's A. Lack of intrinsic motivation. B. Cognitive load capacity. C. Cultural and linguistic background. D. Identified special needs. Correct answer. C. Cultural and linguistic background. Why C is correct. The challenge stems from the disconnect between the textbook's context, often urban, mainstream, and the student's local, indigenous experience and language. This is a classic example of cultural and linguistic differences influencing the learning process. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A and B. These are internal cognitive, motivational issues. The problem here is the external gap between the curriculum and the student's life. D. While possible, the problem is specifically related to abstract versus concrete concepts tied to culture, language, not necessarily a formal special need. Edge knowledge. Think contextual gap. When the struggle arises from a student's community or non-mainstream experience contrasting with the school material, the source of the difference is cultural and linguistic. Question number 9. In the context of differentiated instruction, readiness primarily refers to the learner's A. Interest in the current lesson's topic. B. Preferred learning style, VAK. C. Current level of knowledge and skill relative to the learning goal. D. Socio-economic background and access to resources. Correct answer. C. Current level of knowledge and skill relative to the learning goal. Why C is correct? Readiness is the learner's preparedness, what they already know, understand, and can do concerning the new content. Teachers differentiate by readiness to ensure the task is neither too easy nor too difficult, within the ZPD. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Interest. A motivational factor, differentiated as interest. B. Preferred learning style. Differentiated as learning profile, style. D. Socioeconomic background. A factor to consider, but readiness is the academic status. Edge knowledge. Think starting point. Readiness is asking, is the student ready to tackle this next step? It measures the current academic skill set. Question number 10. The teaching principle that encourages teachers to identify and use students' personal hobbies, strong interests, and passions when designing learning activities is aimed at addressing which individual difference factor? A. Learning profile, style. B. Readiness. C. Motivation, interest. D. Cognitive ability. Correct answer. C. Motivation, interest. Why C is correct? Interest is the effective component of differentiation. Aligning instruction with students' hobbies and passions harnesses their intrinsic motivation, which increases engagement and persistence. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Learning profile, style, focuses on how they learn best, e.g., using music or visuals. B. Readiness. Focuses on what they know. D. Cognitive ability. Focuses on how well they can process information, e.g., MI profiles. Edge knowledge. Think the hook. Interests are the personal hooks that grab a student's attention and fuel their motivation. Using hobbies and passions is the clearest way to differentiate by interest. If this video gave you an edge, sharpen that like button and subscribe to stay ahead.